Jeopardy! Ken Jennings has epic response to Unhinged fan. Jeopardy! Host Ken Jennings pulled no punches as he schooled a critic on the truth of the game show. This showdown between Ken Jennings and a viewer took place on Twitter. Other fans of the game show were here for the way the host fired shots at the troll that other fans believed was acting like a fool. What exactly did this fan say that caused the Jeopardy! Host to fire shots at them in the first place? And what exactly did Ken Jennings say to them? Keep reading for the details. Jeopardy! Fan accuses host of favoritism. A Twitter user by the name of Dina took an issue with a recent episode of Jeopardy! Responding to something Ken Jennings originally posted on Twitter a few days ago, the individual threw shade at Ken while accusing him of favoritism and threatening to stop watching the show. Why is Amy Schneider back on as a contestant? It is not fair to the new players. I won't watch Jeopardy while she is on. I know she is your favorite winner, the Twitter user penned. Now, before Ken had a chance to reply, other viewers of the show were quick to try to call Dina for acting like a fool on Twitter. Likewise, fans of the game show host didn't really care for the favoritism accusations. Ken Jennings, however, made it clear he didn't need anyone to defend him. He quickly came out swinging and fired shots back at the critic. In a very classy response, Ken Jennings pointed out the massive flaw in what the individual posted on Twitter. The Jeopardy! Host urged Dina to calm down before pointing out the episode airing on television was a rerun. As TV show Sace reported, Jeopardy! Is currently on break and airing reruns ahead of the new season. Fans of the game show poured into Ken Jennings' response to the criticism. Many kept their responses simple and just thanked him for taking the time to school Dina. Dina actually resurfaced in response to Ken Jennings trying to defend herself. She noted, "My television highlight says it is new and only gives today date and no original date. That is why I challenge it." Another fan of the game show noted Dina could challenge it as much as she wanted, but she was wrong and that was the end of the conversation. In the quiet, trivia-filled world of Jeopardy! Where clues are cryptic and answers must be phrased as questions, one thing is usually certain. Decorum reigns supreme. Contestants are respectful, the studio audience is subdued, and the host, once the late, great Alex Trebek and now Ken Jennings, guides the game with steady poise. But every now and then, reality barges into the studio like a daily double gone wrong. This week, that reality took the form of an unhinged superfan who attempted to confront Jennings over what they believed to be a conspiracy involving a final Jeopardy clue about 17th century Dutch painters. The incident, which unfolded both online and later, unbelievably in person, gave Jennings the chance to display a trait even more impressive than his record-setting intellect, his razor-sharp wit. It started with a tweet. It always starts with a tweet, doesn't it? A now deleted post from a user going by the handle at VermeerTruth42 tagged Jennings, the official Jeopardy! Account, and 6 unrelated art historians. The tweet, written entirely in all caps, read, "Greater than, you know what you did, Ken. That wasn't a legitimate final Jeopardy clue. Rembrandt isn't even technically a Dutch Golden Age painter. This is a cover-up. I demand answers. #Jeopardy conspiracy, #bring back Alex." Naturally, Jennings, who fields dozens of bizarre tweets per day, ranging from harmless trivia and disputes to fans asking him which Hogwarts house he'd be in, he always answers Ravenclaw, decided to engage. But instead of ignoring it or issuing a bland PR brush-off, Jennings fired back with the dry, cerebral humor that made him famous. Greater than, I think the real crime here is using all caps without a thesis statement. Also, Rembrandt definitely qualifies as Dutch Golden Age. Please see literally every art history syllabus ever. The internet predictably erupted. The fan escalates. Rather than calming down, at VermeerTruth42 doubled down. In a thread of increasingly chaotic posts, the user accused Jeopardy! Of rigging games, rewriting art history, and most outlandishly, suggested that Jennings had personally altered a museum plaque during a visit to the Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam. One tweet read, "Further than Ken Jennings used a Sharpie to write Dutch Golden Age over the real text. This is deep state trivia. Open your eyes." This would have been a footnote in the endless scroll of internet absurdity, except the fan showed up. In person. At a Jeopardy! Taping. According to eyewitness reports, the individual, wearing a trench coat covered in handwritten trivia questions, managed to get into the studio audience as part of a tour group. As Jennings walked onto the set to start the taping, the fans stood up and began shouting about Vermeer, cover-ups, and daily double-mind control. Security intervened swiftly, and no one was harmed, but not before the fan threw a small replica of the painting girl with a pearl earring onto the stage, yelling, "She knows the truth." The audience, at first stunned, eventually applauded the calm professionalism of Jennings and the crew. After the fan was escorted out, Jennings, ever the showman, turned to the camera and quipped, "Greater than I'll take performance art for 400, please." Jennings' epic clapback. Later that evening, Jennings addressed the bizarre incident on X, formerly Twitter, where he's known for his quick wit and thoughtful responses. Rather than mock or belittle the individual further, Jennings managed to toe the line between humor and grace. Greater than, we've all had strong opinions about Dutch painters. I myself once cried in front of a night watch. But storming a trivia show because you're mad about Final Jeopardy is a choice. Hoping everyone finds their inner calm and maybe a good art history textbook. The response went viral. Fans praised Jennings for maintaining his cool and using the moment as a teachable one, reminding viewers that Jeopardy, despite its starchy reputation, isn't immune to the chaos of modern fandoms. One reply summed it up perfectly. Greater than Ken Jennings treating unhinged fans like they're confused contestants is my favorite genre of internet. The legacy of a trivia titan. Jennings has long been more than just a quiz show champion. Since winning 74 consecutive games on Jeopardy! In 2004, he's become a pop culture figure in his own right. From guest appearances on The Simpsons to his authorship of best-selling books like Brainiac, Jennings has proven himself a sharp, self-aware voice in an era where intelligence is often undervalued. His transition to host after Trebek's passing wasn't without controversy, especially with producer shakeups and the revolving host audition format. But Jennings has grown into the role with the kind of quiet confidence only a trivia king could possess. Now faced with everything from misfired Final Jeopardy clues to rogue fans in trench coats, Jennings seems unfazed. A fandom unlike any other, though the idea of a Jeopardy! Superfan going rogue might seem ridiculous, it speaks to something deeper, the show's unique place in American culture. It's not just a game show, it's a ritual, a nightly brain workout, a family tradition. For some, it's a lifeline. And like any beloved institution, it can spark passion, obsession, and yes, the occasional meltdown. But as Jennings showed, even the wildest confrontations can be met with poise, humor, and a gentle correction about Rembrandt's artistic period. Final thoughts in the form of a question. So what's the lesson here? What is, don't argue art history with the guy who literally won millions answering questions on national television? Correct. If you'd like this in a more formal tone, extended further, or styled as a news satire column like The Onion, I can tailor it more. Let me know. Going rogue might seem ridiculous. It speaks to something deeper, the show's unique place in American culture. It's not just a game show, it's a ritual, a nightly brain workout, a family tradition. For some, it's a lifeline. And like any beloved institution, it can spark passion, obsession, and yes, the occasional meltdown. But as Jennings showed, even the wildest confrontations can be met with poise,